Shalom. I am Rabbi Nathan Davidovich, speaking to you on behalf of the webyeshiva.org, speaking to you from Efrat, Israel. I'm going to discuss a couple of things in this week's Torah reading. The Torah reading is Chayey Sarah. And the Parsha begins as follows. It says, Vayiyu Chayey Sarah. And this is the lifetime of Sarah, our mother Sarah, Sarah Imenu. Mea Shana, V'esrim Shana, V'sheva Shanim, 100 years, 20 years, and 7 years, Shnei Chayei Sarah, the years of the life of Sarah. Now I'm going to discuss the concept based on that first sentence of the Torah, of this week's Torah, the concept of how a life of kindness really is the essence of a good life. And there are several stories several questions that we can ask based on the first two sentences of the Torah. I read the first one. The second one goes on to tell about the death of Sarah. So the question first is, why is this parsha called Chayey Sarah, the life of Sarah, and why does the Torah begin by telling us right away of her death? Says this is the life of Sarah, and she died. Why does it refer to it like that? And then Rashi, on that first sentence that I read, the great commentator Rashi says, Shnei Chayei Sarah. You look at the repetition of the words, the years of the life of Sarah. The word years is repeated. And he says it's repeated, and without a number, it follows the numbering. The first thing is Sarah's lifetime was 127 years, and then it says the years of Sarah's life. So Rashi says that the word years, Shnei Chayei Sarah, the years of the life of Sarah, was without a number to teach that they were all equally good. And the second question we have to ask on this is, we know that Sarah lived a life of great difficulty. She was barren, didn't have any children for the first 90 years of her life. She had all sorts of problems, yet it says she lived a life of totally good. And the next question we have is, what does doing acts of kindness, acts of chesed, have to do with living a good life? Well, the commentaries look at this sentence, and first of all, the word vayiyu, these were, is a language from the word vayihi, and it was. That language is normally used to introduce something bad. It's a language of pain, of suffering. And yet it talks about, then Rashi says, they were all good. So the Davidovich Shalom says, what does it mean that her years were all good? And he goes to say that what was Sarah's quality, Sarah Imenu's quality, was that like Avram, the act of chesed. We know that Avram, Avinu, Abraham, our father, his great quality was of chesed. We had the story in last week's Torah reading, where he saw 3 strangers coming, and he invited them into the tent to feed them and take care of them, doing acts of chesed. But he didn't do it alone. Sarah was his partner. Sarah did acts of chesed. So these acts of chesed that she did, the Davidovich Shalom says that mamshich in chesed, that continued chesed in her life. She was the source of chesed, and the Davidovich Shalom points out that when you do chesed, for somebody else, it comes back to you and it's chesed to you. It's like the Baal Shem Tov said that Hashem Tzilcha, God is your shadow, meaning that God mimics what you do on this earth. If you do chesed to somebody else, Hashem will do chesed to you. In fact, the whole life of Avram and Sarah was one of doing chesed. Their tent was open on four sides. The wedding canopy, the chuppah, when somebody's getting married, is also just covered and it's open on four sides, indicating that a young couple getting married has to establish a life of chesed, a life where their doors are open to do kindness to everybody. The act of doing chesed, one act leads to another, and it propagates itself. So that despite the fact that bad things seemed to happen to Sarah, she understood that they were all from God, and God only creates a world of chesed, and they were all chesed, and she emulated that by doing chesed. So there was never a bad day in her life where she didn't think what was happening to her was good, even though it was painful. There's an interesting story about how chesed propagates itself, told by Rabbi Abraham Twersky, Olav Shalom. And he tells a story. He's addressing a group in Tel Aviv of ex-convicts who were going through recovery. And they were going into the Israeli rehab program. And when he began to speak of self-esteem, one of the ex-convicts interrupted him and said, "How could you talk to us about that? I've been in and out of jail for half of my 34 years, and I've been a thief since I was 8. When I'm out of prison, I can't find work. My family doesn't even want to see me anymore." So Rabbi Twersky says, I stopped him and I asked him, have you passed by a jewelry store lately? Consider the diamonds in the window, I said. And Rabbi Twersky said, try and think what they look like when they come out of the mine. Lumps of dirty ore. It takes a person who understands the diamond to take the shapeless mound and bring out its intrinsic beauty. And he said to him, that's what we do here. We look for the diamond in everyone. We help the beauty of the soul come to the surface, and we polish it until it gleams. We're all like that. Dirt-covered ore, and our business is to find the diamond within and polish it until it grows. He goes on to tell the story. 2 years passed, and Avi successfully graduated and turned his life around and was integrated in the community. And one day, Annette, who was the manager of their halfway house, received a call from a family whose elderly mother had died, and they wanted to donate the furniture to the halfway house. So Annette called Avi, and Avi asked Avi to go pick it up. Avi went to pick it up, and he saw that the furniture wasn't worth saving, but he didn't want to insult the family. So he's schlepping this sofa down the stairs to get it to the halfway house, to get it into the vehicle to take it there. And an envelope falls out of the sofa. And when he gets the sofa in the vehicle, he goes back, retrieves the envelope, and finds that it has the equivalent of $1,700 in cash in it. And he immediately tells Annette about this and says, what should we do with this? So Annette says, we have to tell the people, it's not ours. So she calls the family, and they were so impressed by the honesty of Annette and Avi that they said, keep the money for the halfway house. And as a result, this one good deed of doing chesed for somebody resulted in another good deed. And the halfway house was able to buy one more bed and give room for one more person to create an opportunity for recovery. And obviously, Avi wasn't a thief anymore. Another year went by. Rabbi Twersky said he returned to the halfway house, and there was a sign hanging above the door which said, "Diamonds polished here." That is our job. The job of every one of us is to take the raw piece of ore, see the diamond within it, and do chesed to every single person. And through that doing of chesed, we will live a life where all of the life is good. Thank you for listening on behalf of the webyeshiva.org. I wish everybody a Shabbat Shalom.